right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. I'm Joel. I'm here with Mimi and Mike, and today our innovative guest is none other than Rodi Groot from Groot and Flowers.
Yeah. Great job, Joel. Welcome, Rodi, to the podcast. Are you a listener?
Yes, I am a listener, guys. Most definitely.
Right. Then you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged. So.
A fatty. We got a fatty here.
So we have, so we're missing Ryan, who's traveling in Ecuador, and Fern, who's catching up on some stuff. And so it's just me, Mike, Joel, and Rodi.
And Rodi.
But Rodi saw Mike last week at Fun and Sun.
Yes, and the fun we have.
Maybe make sure to remember that I wasn't there. So keep me informed on all that I missed.
So yeah, I first met Rodi in Congressional Action Days, right?
Oh, yes.
Congressional Action Days. It was the first time I met you during actually I remember when. It was during the training period to prepare you to go to walk the halls of Congress. They prepare you and they teach you all about the 3 asks. And that's where I met you getting a cup of coffee, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have always heard of you, but I had never met you in person until then. And not long after that, we met at a SAF convention where we had a meeting, and that's when we started our Sun Valley distributorship in Miami. That's where the conversation started. And I thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. I still remember visiting your office and your warehouse right there, and that was quite a visit. There's not many wholesale houses that are set up that way, so kudos to you all for being different.
Wait till you see the next evolution. We are moving this year. Actually, no, we're moving in spring 25. We're doing the build out right now, starting, and we're gonna take this to a whole nother level, which we're scared shit about, but also excited about at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. So my wife hasn't seen it yet, and she's going to Miami next week, and she's got a priority list. She wants to see her grandkids. She wants to get her nails done, and she wants to see the new building. So those.
That's a good.
Sounds like you got the priorities in order.
That's a good list, by the way. So we need to go from the very beginning because I know you've been in the industry for a while, and I want to hear your story, and I'm sure everybody else wants to hear your story. So how did you, I mean, you're Dutch, right?
Yeah. I am Dutch. Yes.
So, yeah.
Mimi, did you know the catchphrase that I invented for Rodi's new venture?
No.
It's "We are grooting for you."
Oh, I love that, actually. Yeah. Grooting for you. Yeah.
Trademarked by Mike Black.
Yeah.
It's a t-shirt.
He's actually, Ryan is the creative director, but I do think that Mike is a big marketer. It's a big part of this marketing team.
Oh, yes. I think you all are doing a fantastic job. So kudos for all of that. So, and it's very inspirational and part of us too. How we at Groot and Flowers kind of taking off our California jackets and being a little bit different. But to go back to your question, Mimi, where it all started for me, it was a bright sunny day in the springtime of 1981 when my mom and her at that time husband took over a flower shop in downtown Amsterdam. So that is where it all started for me. So, and then from there, I went to the Floriculture College in Aalsmeer, right next to the auction. Spent 4 years there. In the meantime, my mom had closed the flower shop, so I was scratching my head. Where off to now? So I went to the United States for a year and a half to kind of, I'll just go to the United States and learn the culture and go back and work on the auction and sell some flowers to the US. That was my idea. So it's what I'm doing right now. I just never left the US once I crossed the big pond. So and never turned back. So.
And was it always California for you?
No, it was so I came in as an exchange student via OSU, so Ohio State University.
Uh-huh.
And then I ended up in North Carolina, spent a year and a half there, got on the I-40 and drove to California. So, and that's how I got here. So, first one time just to visit some family I had here. and then
What were you
half a year
doing
later,
in South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I was working for a poinsettia and bedding plant in nursery there. It's called at that time a multi-floral
Oh
greenhouses
yeah.
in a town called Hillsborough, just half hour outside of Durham, right next to UNC. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan. So I even saw him play at was it the Dean Dome when he just started with the Bulls. So that was in '89. So yes, yep, that was my call to glory that I've seen Michael Jordan play live in action.
Hey,
So
that's
way
a
in the beginning.
that's something that not a lot of people could say. My kid actually was asking Joel like recently. He's like, "Hey, Joel, what's the best lineup? If you could pick your lineup in the NBA or
He said, like,
game,
what's the best era
what was the best era?"
that I would have liked to have seen?
And Joel's like, "My era that I saw already."
Yeah,
My
but
kid
I've
was
never seen
Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
No.
I was too young.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody fell in
Yeah.
love with Michael Jordan in the 90s during the Bulls
Yeah.
era. Yeah, that was amazing.
yes.
Everybody fell in
Yeah.
love with basketball, I feel like. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. Of course, it was the Lakers in the '80s and the Bulls in the '90s.
Uh-huh.
So, but yes, yeah, yeah. So that's how I got my into the United States. Also, where I had my first cup of coffee in the United States. Very different than what you get at Jet Fresh, but it was in '89, and that was I got myself a soup bowl, and I could see the bottom of the cup, and I'm like, no, I didn't ask for tea. I asked for coffee. So, the thing was only like $1 a cup and it was unlimited. So, at one point you would get enough caffeine in, but that was my first experience with an American cup of coffee in 1989. So,
That's
but
funny.
that was back then. So, yes.
Coffee's
So,
gotten
and
better.
then I had my real cup of coffee, I guess, the Cuban coffee when I was visiting the Jet Fresh team.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's strong. I'm
that is the
I'm
real
currently off Cuban coffee. I'm just
coffee. Uh-oh.
no Cuban coffee. It's too much sugar.
We'll
Yes.
see how long that
I
lasts.
don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
doing
everyone needs it.
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. You'd be super proud of me.
I am proud of
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
of course. But
So what are you drinking instead of Cuban coffee then?
I actually just have straight up one of the Nespresso pods that Ryan brings in.
Okay.
And I'm drinking my coffee
Okay.
black in the morning, and that's it. I just put a
Yes.
little bit of cinnamon or pumpkin spice inside, like the actual spices, and that's it. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds boring, but
Well-
it tastes better, like for my stomach. I'm just trying to keep away from sugars and milks and stuff.
All right.
Bye.
So then, yeah.
so
When
you
I
roll
was,
into Los Angeles. You got to Los Angeles. You went to visit your family there.
mhm.
And then what happened?
Well, my family are the brands. So that was back in the '80s and '90s. It was B&H flowers
Mhm.
and brand flowers.
Wow, those were big
Yes.
Gerber growers, I
Mhm.
remember.
Yes. So that was their mom was my mom's sister. So and I got to work with Berry Brand and Willia Hape, who ended up with started brand flowers in '91. So I arrived in California on Super Bowl Sunday in '91. So it was the Bills against the New York Giants. So I think that was what the Giants won by a field goal. So I do remember that. So that's the day I arrived in California. So that was in so February '91. Spent 16 years with Brand Flowers. So I know at one point we rivaled with my future employer at that time in the late '90s, early 2000s. So we were probably going head to head there. So, but I had a good time there, building the company up from not from scratch, but from small beginnings to what it ended up being. So
Back then, the Gerbers came in the trays,
yes,
and there was like 5 trays in a master California monster box. I believe there was 84 flowers. Was that right? 84?
yeah, it was 84 per tray, up to 5
84 per
trays.
tray, and it made such an amazing presentation in a wholesale house.
Yeah.
When you open those boxes, you could like almost stand them up and lean them on the wall and make a beautiful display. I love doing that. I remember unpacking those boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've packed a few of those over the years. Yes,
I bet.
Yeah.
None of that was automated either. That was all handwork then.
All handwork. Yes, but it was still better than trying to put them in cups, which came on later on. So
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, but that's yeah. So I got there in '91. In the fall of '91, I ran into my future wife, so who you met at the Fun in the Sun. So yeah, and then we got married in '94. And I remember asking her to marry me, which was at her best friend's wedding, who was having a wedding at the zoo in Santa Barbara. And I asked her dad for permission, and he said, "Sure, if she says okay." Like that was a head scratcher. What do you mean if she says okay? Of course, he's going to say okay.
So wait. You went and you asked her dad's permission to take her hand in marriage?
Yes, I
That's
did.
very old fashioned. That's awesome.
Oh, is that old
I
fashioned?
love
I
that.
got Oliver did
Yeah,
that
that's
with
old fashioned.
Oliver did that with my
No.
dad too. Yeah.
I think it's respectful. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. The only thing is my dad said to him, Oliver, "Are you sure about it? Like, I don't know. Are you sure?" She's kind of, and it was a trick. And my mom got mad at my dad and didn't want to talk to him because she's like, "Why would you do that to our daughter?" And he's like, "No, it was a trick. You saw he said yes. That means it's a good sign." And I go, "Oh." So I heard the story and I was like, "Oh, I guess that doesn't sound right, Dad. Don't say that about me." He said I was hard-headed.
She was in the flower business too, or no?
No, she was not in the flower business, but her best friend was Samantha Alderton. It's now Samantha Pruitt. She's married to Dave Pruitt, who used to be with the Seacoast Greenhouses back in the days. And then later on, he worked for Paul Tagawa, and he also became the CEO or the ambassador of the California Cut Flower Commissions for a while in the end, until that became American grown. So and those two know each other since birth. So
Right.
and that's kind of how we met. So
Love that.
yes, there's the story right there.
After B&H, what happened?
So that was with Brand. So then the two owners decided not to like each other anymore, and they kind of separated. And that's kind of when I decided to move on to connect with Lane, and then via connected with Lane, and I hopped on over to do the Sun Valley world. So which was eye-opening. So I knew
what
I
year
was
was that? What year was
It was
that?
in 2007.
Wow.
So yeah, I spent 17 years with Sun Valley. Yes. Yeah.
It's a long time.
So, yep. So yeah, so I went to.
What did you handle when you started working with Lane? Did you move up north, or were you always?
Well, first I went for 2 weeks to get the culturalized the Sun Valley way and of course for information download. So from the competitor, it's just what to do, right? As much as information as possible. So got to spend some time in Okada, which if you have not been there yet, regardless if Sun Valley is there or not, it's still a great place to visit.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous and beautiful. So.
I have been. It's amazing, beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
We stayed in a really cool old-fashioned hotel in the city, which my sons were happy because it was within walking distance to the dispensary. but we had a good time staying in that place, and it was really old, like a old haunted hotel. And I forget what it was called, but it was a really good experience. And we had a nice dinner there, had a great tour there, drove around the area a little bit. There's the big trees, what they call those trees?
The sequoias.
Yeah. Sequoia, yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So all kinds of just the scenery there. So yeah. What I did for them, when I started there, I was managing their bouquet department and their internet packing department, which at that time was Pro Flowers, back in the heydays of Pro Flowers. And then a year later, I also took over the warehouse. I started their transportation business, which we did not have. We were all using third parties, so I rented trucks, leased trucks, hired drivers, and started that. And then took over the whole warehouse, which is now packing, shipping. And then it kind of evolved. So gained a lot of customers on the bouquet side. So because we were very very heavy at that time with pro flowers, and with my experience from brand flowers, already have some connections into the mass market side. We gained some additional customers for the bouquet side at Sun Valley. So, but at that time with the unique product line they had. We kind of did not go stem for stem competition, but the uniqueness of the product line that Sun Valley had. And at that time, we had the Ringium in production, and then of course the rose hips and orange and yellow dubiums, Dorothy of Harlem, that were just outstanding back in the days when we had them at Sun Valley. And then the Ilex, even though we were not quite into the winter spirits in 2007, that started a few years later, once you kind of perfected that scheme. So those were just cool to play with in bouquet land. So you could put a stick of that into it, along with a few other staple and meat items, and you had something that nobody could compete with. So
and hardy,
a lot of fun with that, and hardy also.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So yeah, so that we grew that about in 3 times in size, the bouquet department, and then in 2018 I took over mass market sales for Sun Valley, and because I took that over from Robert Gomez, who went on with our Mexico adventure, and which is where he was primarily located, and grew sales with Sun Valley and the mass market team, and then COVID hit, but that's a whole other.
But you always
a lot of people left.
You were also in the wholesale, because I would always see you at Wolfsa too. Or you,
yes,
or you
that's
just you guys
last...
it basically was divide and conquer with you and Lane. I always felt like you one of the two was always somewhere.
Yeah, in the last 4 years, most definitely. Yes, I mean a lot of changes happened at Sun Valley that we didn't like, that we didn't want to happen, but COVID kind of forced it upon us, and some adjustments had to be made. And yes, then we went from 3 sales managers, internet, wholesale, mass market, to 2 sales managers, and I was the one that took wholesale and mass market, partly because it was where my forte was in that area, and internet had become more just direct instead of all the bulk shipments. So and I like what you said, within even the brand flower days, I was in wholesale sales as well. So even though I had not been in wholesale sales for 10, 12 years, once I started to go to the Hoofda shows again, it's like, hey, I remember you from 15 years ago. So
yeah, and you were
it's always a small world.
always involved. You were a council member for SAF. You were part of the American Grown, right? There was always
yes.
around.
Yeah, at California Cut Flower Commission was in 2013, 2014, when I was the chair of the promotion committee. That is when we created the American Grown logo, and also where we pushed hard to create the American Grown movement. So, which later on became the American Grown Commission as it is in place right now. Yeah. We, as Californians, we're very proud of our Californian side, but it's very easy to sell, if you want to call it that. But in California, once you come outside of California, like, oh, it's California. It's a different, even though it is appreciated. But you got Oregon grown, you got Texas grown. I mean, they rather see that within their own states than the California grown. So
American grown meat marries them all together,
right.
And it's one. It's all for the common good. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I will tell you, Mimi, that there are some California growers that I ran into, one in particular, who don't like us people from Miami.
Oh, one?
Don't like us people from Miami.
I knew that from my Chrysler days.
Casey didn't warn me about that. Casey didn't warn me, but I was speaking to the great Lane DeFries. He walked in, gave the biggest hug. So glad to see him. I'm so glad that he was there. And some other guy comes up to Lane while we're talking. He must have, maybe had a couple drinks, I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just like that all the time. He came up to Lane. Hey, Lane's shaking hands, and they made a little chit chat. And then he turns to me and he looks at my
badge.
My badge. And he goes, Miami. Ugh. you people need to raise your prices.
Yeah.
You people are terrible. It's going on. And I was like, well, gee, thanks for the warm welcome.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. I have not experienced that form of racism before, but for sure,
Flowerism.
there are some that don't like these Miami people and what they're saying.
Yeah.
Little do they know that American grown to some companies in Miami is just as important as anything else. And there are companies like mine that are making big efforts to build American grown flowers, regardless of where they come from.
I think we're a little unique.
Even North American flowers as just as a continent. I mean, we're just like, it's just as important as South America or Europe or anywhere else, the Orient, where we bring flowers from. But this guy was old school, you could tell, and he still blames the failure of the carnations, on us. Like it just he went back to 1967 with his anger.
Yeah. Well, but I've seen a lot more. Like, I have to say, Jet Fresh, we do represent a lot from North America, and but I have seen a big movement out there. There's a lot more people just embracing that, and just, I mean, the quality that you get here in North America too, sometimes you can't even compete. I just saw some of our Canadian stuff and I'm like, wow, like, it's just crazy. You can't even compare it. But the same with the Gerbras.
It's not even, it's each state has flower producers now.
I think I was in B&H when it was like 2006 when I started at Chrysler, and I went on a tour, and all I saw were a bunch of Gerbras, places, most.
Yeah.
That's the name of the guy. That was the guy.
Oh, sorry.
And I know who that was. I know.
That's the guy.
I didn't mean to out him. But I remember feeling that.
No, I couldn't remember his name, but now I do.
Well, funny enough, I remember feeling that.
But I think there are thousands of them, so it's hard to nail down exactly which one it was.
And for a long time.
But there were thousands of out there. Yeah. That's right.
But it was that whole that whole California feeling. I mean, even as an American, it's funny you say that, because Californians take pride. Like, when I was there, I took pride being American, seeing those flowers. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, wow, like this. So I did see it as a bigger picture as an American, but I can see like how the Californians are like, yeah, it can get a little tough sometimes. But
I don't know. I went to visit a few wholesalers that we do business with out there. The day of the golf tournament, I wasn't golfing. I wanted to go out there and visit some customers, and there's some very big companies from South America out there in California, and they're in every cooler.
Well, that's different, yeah.
They're everywhere.
That's a different, or when they're right by the border, those are little danger zones there. Like for it to the Californians, which I understand. It's just like, different situation, but.
Yes, we as Californians enter as American flower growers. So that is how the state of Colorado used to be the largest producer of carnations worldwide. So,
really?
And now look at that. So, and California had a huge rose and pom-pom chrysanthemum production in the late 80s and 90s. So, and that's not much left over from that. So I think there are 2 rose growers left, or 3 if you include Pajaro Valley. But there's not too many, so yeah, it's easy to blame somebody else, right? So it's just cheaper imports, and not much import duties applied, yada yada yada. All the reasonings why. So it's and of course there's something to be said for that. But and what is the government doing for the floral producers here in the United States, protecting its industries here? So it's just. It's America, right? It's capitalism, and at the same time, there are reasons why they implemented certain programs for the less affluent countries that needed some help. And did it work? Did it not work? I'll leave that conversation up to others that know more about that than I do. Yeah. But you got to deal with the market conditions at play and find your niche. And sometimes it's a relationship. So which sales reps do you have? How good are they? So they can sell themselves into a customer with their product line, even though they're a little bit more expensive, or the uniqueness of your product line. I mean, how much of a job do you do to make sure that your varieties are up to snuff and the newest and the greatest and the best, then do you do the right thing cold chain wise and all of that? I think all of that matters. So, and how well of a job do you do to market yourself and point out all those things that you do to be the best out there. So if you don't do that and you just expect it to happen, then sometimes you get the cards that you get. So it's yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
that it's constantly evolving. Like there used to be a time from Miami that no matter what time of year we could sell sunflower. But
Yeah.
in summer from Miami, it's very difficult to sell sunflower because sunflowers are being grown in every state by somebody, and they're local, and local is better, and they're not cheaper, but local is better, and people are into that. Dahlias and bouquets and all kinds of field grown stuff, outdoor stuff that doesn't require big infrastructure, greenhouses and things like that.
Some of
Maybe they
those
use some
people,
Quonset houses,
some of those people
but
are
they're
big, Mike. Some of them are big.
it's a thing,
the
man.
Association
It's
of
a thing.
Specialty Cut Flower Growers, you go to that convention and you're blown away with, I mean, and it's
Yeah.
usually like somebody who had a job, like a really tough job, and decided to take, bought some land, and it's the same story every time. Like, I used to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
I used to be,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. But I mean, kudos to them because they do a great job.
It's a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a thing.
They are really the smaller farmers, so they are booming. So where in the early 2000s, the association of specialty cut was maybe 300 or 400. It's now in the thousands, if not close to 3,000
Yeah.
nationwide members of that organization. So,
And
and they are small farmers. Maybe they're in production for a month or so. Like Alaska, where they have 6 weeks of production. And then you have other states like in California where they're booming, and they are the people like what you said, retired lawyers, architect, doctors,
Yes.
Not even
whatever it might be.
retired, just people that were working on Wall Street that said, fuck it, I'm sick of this shit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go and buy some land in the woods and I'm gonna grow some flowers. It's so random
Exactly.
how they just decide.
But you know why they're successful? Because they
They
take
read a
it
book.
into, well, yeah, they also Floret, a lot of these different companies or organizations that help and stuff, but they are big in education and they understand business. So I think that's what makes them successful. They're like, okay, I can't grow all of that right now, but I'm going to do what I can do and I'm going to do it right. And I that's why I really I'm always blown away.
Yeah, but you can't really run a flower farm by the numbers. You can't really run a flower business by the numbers. It's touchy-feely. It's market conditions. It's weather. It's all kinds of things.
They think outside the box. They then have weddings there, or they partner up with a local supermarket, and they are partnering with people that just make more sense. I just it's the reach that we can't have.
Those are all those are all the farmers that really are vertically integrated, right? They grow, they market, and keep it very local, within the 5, 10, 50-mile radius, and everybody just comes and picks themselves and or do those things themselves. So you got quite a few of those. And then you have the farmers that we deal with that like to think a little bit more on a larger scale, but they don't want to deal with customers. So, and that's kind of what our niche here at Groot and Flowers is. We, due to the experiences that we have gained, so me being in the business since the early 90s, one of my growers and one of my sales reps have been in there even longer than I have. And then everybody else just has worked for the right companies within the industry, in Sun Valley, and that kind of almost gives you instant recognition, right? So if they don't pick up the phone for your name, they pick up the phone because of who you work for and or worked for. So, and that's the same for growers. So, the growers we represent are the American flower growers or greens growers. So, and they love to grow. That's the expert. So this morning I was on the phone with an old man who's about to retire and is letting his family take over the business, but they don't like to deal with sales. They don't want to deal with, pesky customers, and that's kind of the connection that we make. So, and there's a lot of those across country as well. So that are like that.
Let's just go back one step, just one step, because I think whoever's listening will find it really interesting. I know I will. So, you knew the date that Sun Valley was going to be having to end. That date was what was like
what was
a final number. And then like you were already connected with these growers. You already like many of them, not all of them, I'm sure, but you knew some of them. And you had this little idea, well, maybe I can do this on my own and maybe I can represent these growers and we can continue to do things in a different way than what we were doing before. But basically, you already had the relationship in place in some cases, I would guess. And because from my view, you came out of the gate running.
Yeah, it
you
was
came
like 2
out
days
hard.
later,
You're like,
all over.
Yeah. You came out hard and you were like all of a sudden you were everywhere. And I was like, whoa, this is cool.
And
this is a
and organized
really good,
with the right social media presence, with the right like lingo.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
it was perfect.
Yeah. And like you said, he's got the right people.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the people that already have existing relationships because this is a relationship business, So whether it's a relationship with the farmer, a relationship with the customer, one way or the other, you need a relationship to make it work. It's way harder to knock on a door cold than when you already know somebody. So I think you have a hell of an opportunity. You have a hell of an opportunity. And also, in turn, you have a hell of a responsibility because now he's the sales arm for multiple different small, medium, and large independent growers who are counting on him to not only move their product at a good price and on a consistent basis. And that's a lot of weight to put on your shoulders fast. And I'm just fascinated by how you put that together. I just can't imagine. It must have been you must have worked 24 hours for weeks to try to get all the moving parts to be in the right places. Am I guessing wrong?
Yes. No, you're not guessing wrong. So, and there was more variable, one more variable at play, but that was the health of my wife. It was happening at the same time. It was not going well. So she is dealing with stage 4 metastasized breast cancer. So, and she had 6 months of treatment that didn't quite go the direction that we'd hoped it would. So then we had to take a different direction. But now we can say, as she's watching me from the corner there, that the reason why things are good is therefore she was able to attend last week's Fun in the Sun. And therefore we were able to go to the Pink concert, which was a ticket that she'd bought back in March. And that was our goal. We're going to go through this. And like Mr. Winston Churchill said, when you go through hell, keep going. So we kept going. And now here we are. So that's one more thing that we had to overcome together. But yeah, it was so May 22nd was when the bombshell hit. And we had, aside of that news of her health not being well, we got the news of Sun Valley. So that was on a Wednesday. On Friday, I met with the big grower in Oxnard that worked for Sun Valley, or with Sun Valley. And I was his liaison, if you want to call it that, within Sun Valley. And I would walk his farms because I lived close by, and I would work with him on plan sheet and then or communicate back to Lane, this, that, and the other. So, and I mean, hey, Ocean View is no longer there. Let's plant Larkspur. Let's increase Belladonna and Delphiniums because that was a shortage on the marketplace at that particular time. So that was what I did already for years. And same with the eucalyptus farm that we brought in 2018, and they were already working with me. And then a peony farm out of Oregon that wanted to sell their goods under the Sun Valley umbrella. So they all liked how I worked with them, communicated with them, and pushed their product. So I was their sales rep within Sun Valley towards the sales team. So that's what I did. So I know the programs inside out because many of the
relationship was already deep. You already were.
Yes. Yeah. And then I also was in charge of sales. Not the last 2 years. It was or year and a half. It was Bill. But I was right behind Bill. Bill and I called each other the two-headed sales management monster. So he was the outward facing, and I became the inwards one, kind of figuring out what he needed to know in order to put to the market. So that was a very good relationship that we had together. So, and that's how we worked. And so from that part to do this was not too difficult. Really, literally at times I felt the only thing that we had to do was change the name on the door, and that's it. of course, the things that were hard was creating the LLC and like the things that Mimi just mentioned, the social media and the website. So like, what do I do there? And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to work with Gmails and or Yahoo emails. I wanted to be rootingflowers.com. So okay, I went to GoDaddy and registered and locked up all the rootingflowers.com, .org and all that, so they could not be taken, and sign up for all the email addresses that way, and then found somebody within some Valley group that had no place to go, but that knew social media and websites. Okay, well then you're hired for that. So I knew that part would go. And then Mike Fanoff, one of my primary sales reps, who was the big target to get on, his wife. If you find Mike, he's the your friend
Mike's
at the farm.
Your friend at the farm.
I love that one. Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
I'm a fan of Mike's friend at the farm.
Yes. So he was my primary target, and I told him, "What will it take for you to say yes to join my team?" So I'll even, I mean, Shannon can keep on doing what she's doing and just, doing what it is that she does. So she came on board, and that helped a lot. So there. And then the sales team, Seth, has been with Sun Valley now a year, but then he was gone. Then he had a 6-year stint that he sold the other types of flowers or within that industry in Arcata. But he started in Sun Valley since '98, and he worked there till 2012 or so. So he had been there for a long time. He knew Sun Valley almost from the beginning. And then Andrew, Andrew is Andrew. He's just, good head on his shoulder. He's an ex-police officer that wanted to do something more fun, so he got into the flower industry and has been with us for 7 years at Sun Valley. So he does very well. And then the one primary focus for myself was accounts receivable. So it's just, you want to be strong there. So I was able to get the person that worked for Sun Valley for 23 years, and it had also no place to go yet, to give her also again. And I told this to everybody: what will it take you to say yes to join the team? So, and I was able to click all the boxes, and she came on board as well. So
it's like a Jerry Maguire
remote. Everybody works remote.
Everybody is remote. Yes.
That's awesome.
And then I hired Nancy, who's my QA person, so quality control. And she works at the warehouse that is managed by my partner farm in Oxnard. It's right behind Floral, the beauty, along the 101 there. But she is on my payroll. Everybody else is on Manuel's payroll. So, but I wanted to own, or not own, but I wanted that lady to report to me.
So responsible directly to you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and she does a good job there. So, and she was trained by myself and various others at Sun Valley. So yeah, 24/7, Mike. I most definitely in the beginning, and the worries for the wife and the worries for how I'm going to do this. And one of the main reasons why I decided to do this, I did not want to be tied down to a job, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and then not being able to stay home for when my wife needed me. So I knew that working for myself would not be an 8 to 5, Monday to Friday job, but I knew I would be able to set my own schedule and still do everything I needed to do business-wise. Plus, this has always been a dream of mine to start my own business, and together with my son. So you met Josh at Fun in the Sun, 23 years old, and he didn't quite know what to do yet. So, and this was my second time asking him if we wanted to do something together, and this time he said yes.
Nice.
And now there is no way back for myself. So, so now it's just sticking to it and going for it, guns blazing. So,
how did it feel for you? Let's say day 4. On day 4, I imagine it felt just like things felt for me when I started my business. I imagine if you were having the feeling like you were just like standing in the center of an arena and everyone was rooting for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everyone was rooting for you. I mean, that must be how it felt, because you came out of the gate hard and everybody needs this product, and you're so well known, and the team that you put together is really well known, and the connections and relationships. It just must have of all the shit that you went through, and are probably still going through some of it, obviously, but all the shit that you went through personally and in business all at the same time, it must have felt really good to have the industry people out there like supporting what you were doing and to like cheer for you and root you on.
Yes, it feels very, very good, Mike. So, and so yeah, my first live, my public appearance was in Miami with the SEF show, where July 31st was my last official day with Sun Valley. And the following Monday, I was in Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's, yes, and ready to roll. I already had my sign, I already had the flower, so, and set up my little booth there. So, and all the support that you get and thumbs up as they walk
Isn't
by.
that motivating, man? Isn't that like make you just like,
yes.
you like, it's like being
it
connected to a
takes all the
battery.
worries it takes all the worries how I'm going to make payroll this Friday away from like, okay, this is worth it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and that's kind of yes. And I'll say during that moment of figuring out if I'm going to do this or not, there was one quote from Sir Richard Branson that kind of pushed me over the edge to do it. And he says, when somebody offers you an opportunity, take it and figure it out along the way. And that's really what I've been doing, figuring it out along the way. Just last week when we had Labor Day and you have to pay everybody the day off, I set myself up with QuickBooks, but I did not push those buttons correctly. So we had to figure out how to do that to make sure everybody could get their holiday pay. So it's just little details like that. It's like, how do we do that? So why didn't I do that then? So now I got Josh and he's figuring it out. So okay, I can delegate.
That's funny because my son Mike Jr., that was his first job, was to figure out the QuickBooks. So Josh can call Mike if he needs some advice.
There we go. Yes.
Because the two of them seem like they have the same history. Around the same age, they started in the flower business, and for sure, Mike was in charge of the QuickBooks and kind of still is today.
He is.
So great story.
Yeah.
Great story.
Yeah.
And these stories don't come very often.
No, so I will say, so last week at Fun in the Sun, and of course, on now my last day with Sun Valley, Lane and I had a very good conversation and appreciative towards each other for everything that he has allowed me to do within Sun Valley and let me do and the things I've learned from him. And I could not ask for a better mentor within the industry as Sun Valley, and also through all the personal struggles we have went through. Me with my wife and he by himself, which have been similar along the same lines. So, and we've been supportive of each other there. Because my wife did a lot of things alternatively, and Lane wanted to do that as well. So we were able to helping along the lines with what we have learned or what my wife had learned with that. So, but yeah, in the floral industry, I mean, to me, the godfather of all, Lane de Vries, and I was a student of him, and I see him every day on Zoom calls or whatever it was, or every week that he was in Oxnard, or the weeks that I spent in Arcata. So I couldn't ask for a better example or a mentor. And I know I still can if I need to call him and just talk about stuff. So and that's just felt very good. But last week was the first time I saw him since. So, and I was a little, I mean, I'm now being associated with Continental Floral Greens and I wish them well. But it was like, I was like, okay, how's this going to go? So, how are we going to react? And here I am. I walk into the hotel to check in. And who is in front of me in line? Lane de Vries. So, he's like, to check in. So, like, isn't this appropriate? So, and that was the first time we were able to shake hands, to give each other a hug, and to kind of, yes. That was very, very cool. That kind of broke the ice, so that was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was glad to see him out and about. I was glad to see him at that convention. And I mean, I can't get into Lane's head, but I'm assuming it was really good for him too. I'm assuming that he walked out of there feeling a little bit better than when he got there.
Yeah.
Because
I sure hope
he's
so.
rock star, man. It's like, it's like the Rolling Stones showing up. You know, not to mention
Exactly.
Willie Armelini did the best Mick Jagger I've seen in a long time.
Okay, guys, yes. I need a little recap of Fun and Sun because there I did have some FOMO. I don't get FOMO about shows very often, but that one, I was really like, wow. First of all, the location, the flowers that Mike was sending through our chat was just amazing. The designs, I felt fun just looking at what was going on over there. So the show had the big
I wouldn't call it a show.
No, it's
That's
not
so
a show.
far out of the show. It's not even a convention.
It's a conference.
For me,
it's a conference.
It seemed like a social event for the most part. It seemed like everybody knew everybody. Like I was the odd man out. Like it seemed like everybody knew everybody.
You were Casey's dad. Casey wasn't your son. You were
I was Casey's dad. Right, exactly. Yeah. I was Casey and Ryan's dad. But I felt it was more laid back than most conventions and things that I have
out
attended.
of all the conventions, this one is the most laid back, and this one is truly about networking and repolishing your relationships with people and stuff, which you can do at all of them, but this is the one that's really
the venue was really nice. Everything seemed to be planned out very well. You know, it was the only thing that was a negative for me was it was just too damn hot outside. But that's the weather that they didn't plan on having, you know. So that aside from that, I thought everything was really well done, really well planned out, and they had just enough of everything. They didn't have too much of the seminars and the classes. They had one day of that, so it wasn't like, you know, every day you got to go. It was more like learn, take a break, learn, take a break, and the parties were pretty good. They threw some really good parties too. But I will tell you, the florals, and if you're into flowers, not just the buying and selling of flowers, but if you're actually into flowers, the florals were amazing. Yeah. Really well done. And they also, which I loved, incorporated color enhanced flowers with the natural flowers.
Were those ours? Were some of those ours?
The blue ones were from us. Yeah,
I noticed that.
The blue roses were from us. But there were a lot of cool flowers. I mean, it didn't matter where it came from.
The theme was just fun. So it had to have color. I mean, I feel like you couldn't have something boring. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the
this show is never boring.
Was that a lot of California growers, they sold out to marijuana, and now marijuana is leaving and the flowers are coming back.
Yes.
So I thought that was damn cool. I was like, great.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Hopefully they can fill the void left by Sun Valley. So, yeah.
I think that's going to be a long time coming before that hole is filled.
Oh, yes.
But I am grateful for Continental for taking that strategy and coming in, taking out of Willow Creek and the Elex and stuff like that. I think especially for Lane, because I mean, I walked the farm with him a couple times and you could clearly see that Elex was his baby. Like he worked on it for so long. And it was nice to see him wearing a shirt saying Willow Creek on it too, which is like badge of honor, you know. Women's Day on one side and Willow Creek on the other side. And he asked me, "Where's your Women's Day sticker?" I said, "Well, you didn't give me one yet." So he gave me one, and I wore it the rest of the time. But yeah.
Yes, I know. It was good to have that
grateful.
Again. So.
And I told FJ that we were grateful for that as a company. And on a human level too, we're grateful for that, because I think Lane deserves that stuff.
Oh, most definitely. Yes, I'm glad that product is still able to find its way to the marketplace right now. So yes, it needs to be. There is no Ilex season without the winter spirit. Yes,
I remember at SAF last year, when Lane won Best in Show for that Elex, that he stood there. He stood there personally, hours and hours, just making sure that ilex was perfectly trimmed.
Mike, I was in the room and he was there he took up like 4 tables just picking the right ones and just doing it 3 days. I was there with him.
Yeah.
I'm like, Lane, we're going to
Most people think the ilex comes off like get cut like that. They don't realize how much work has to go into making that ilex look like what it looks like, whether it's trimming the little laterals or, just out and out, just making them. There are people out in post-harvest with scissors and clippers, just making it to the most perfect piece that they can make it out of it, because they don't come off the plant that way.
Right.
And I was impressed
they all
with how
come
much
off the
labor.
plants with the leaves on it. So, and then they got to go into the what we call the defoliation chamber, which is basically coolers with the temperature turned up to a certain degrees. So in order to let the foliage fall off and to dry up and to all that. So yes, create that fall effect. So
yeah,
and then those varieties they are perfect. The way he bred it, the ones that he selected, where the berries are all the way to the end, and I don't know, it was not last year, it was the year before. So SCF convention 2 years ago, where Tim Farrell did a blindfolded design test, and he had the ilex in there, and he was shaking them, and the berries did not fall off. So that was like
the
the
shake
true
test.
of.
We do the shake test.
We do that
on
with
everything.
Yes.
Yeah, we do the shake test on the berries of everything.
Snowberries,
just to make sure.
Yeah.
Well,
so happy that he found a place.
So, Rodi, now that you're out of the gate and you're moving and you're the dust is pretty much, I guess, settling for you. I mean, now that gives you more time to continue to network more growers, more supply, more different diversified products. And what do we have to look forward to? What's next? What do you see coming down the pipe?
We have the Oregon grower has a small pumpkin tree program in the ground that we did this year. And that was being planted right as the news in regard to Sun Valley came out. So he kind of backed off. So it's a small program this year because things weren't quite, laid out. But next year will come in larger form. We are working on integrating a Safari Sunset farm. A pretty large one, and he has quite a few different types of it's a Southern California range of greens, but focusing on a few items that this particular farmer is doing much better at than the general farmers, and focusing on a few greens that are not enough of on the marketplace, and expanding on that. So that's what's in the works, and I'll be visiting the farm on Thursday again. And then I have a few other farms in the waiting room, if you want to call that, with the product line not quite ready, that want assistance with coming into the American marketplace. So that's we'll see where that goes. So, but that's pretty exciting.
So you're doing consulting as well. You're doing consulting as well. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Helping them or what I see my business as, Mike, is we are the sales and marketing arm department of the flower grower that needs assistance because they don't want to deal with sales department. So, and we charge a small commission for that, which is in general, we all know the SG&A cost of each company. What that costs as a portion of your sales. So that's not what we charge. So,
and you take the financial risk.
And we take the financial risk. So
which is a job in itself.
But
and
there's a lot to be said for that.
So
sorry, I was going to say the product range is vibrant lilies, golden California flowers, Pacific Coast foliage. Like, tell us a little bit more about what the products besides the ones that you have in the pipeline are.
Well, right now, just here, I'm not quite sure how well it's seen, but we've got the lilies, we've got all the different types of delphiniums, we have the larkspur, we have asters, and the Machacari daisies that have been playing shy in the last few weeks, but that should be a more abundant supply. Long line of eucalyptus that we have available, including the seeded. We're playing with the hanging amaranthus, and where we have identified multiple varieties of the hanging amaranthus. You got you have the Rasta type, which kind of like looks like popcorn on the elephant snout, and then you have the one that are straight green. So we're playing with that. Lysianthus is a big program. Um, the first iris are planted 2 weeks ago, so that will be coming into production sometime in November.
Telstar?
And then we have Telstar, yes sir.
Nice.
We're Sun Valley. That's where
Yeah.
we grew up, so we
Yeah,
know
yeah.
the right variety. So
I love
in
that.
iris, so it would be like cheating on your wife if you would be selling any other types of iris. So we will have some other types of iris just to test, but primarily all Telstar iris. Yes, sir.
Nice.
And then I also have from Sun Valley days where we also had West Coast evergreens, so which was part of Sun Valley, where we had a long line of Christmas greens and northwestern foliages that were picked for us. So and those pickers also did not have a place to go, and they wanted to follow me as well because they also liked how we worked with them at Sun Valley. So and I found a way to consolidate those greens into my Oregon farm and then travel it down to Oxnard.
Let me
for
tell
sale.
you
So,
right now, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me tell you right now, when me and Casey and Ryan were up at Sun Valley, we were walking in the post harvest, and I think it was in like November or December. It was pretty close to Christmas. You had the most amazing berry juniper that I've ever seen. Berry juniper with lots and lots of blueberries on it. Usually you get a box of berry juniper, it has a couple of berries if you're lucky. This stuff was perfect. Please, can you reserve that for me? I'd like to put it in order
yes,
right
sir.
now because
Okay. Send me the PO.
you got my verbal PO right now. I need to have
All
that
right, there we
berry
go.
juniper with berries. Like they sell this berry
Yes.
juniper and it doesn't have berries.
Don't
I
worry.
want the ones with the berries.
This
It was
episode will
perfect.
air, and I will make sure the PO comes.
That was the nicest berry juniper I've ever seen. I have customers that won't buy it anymore because it doesn't have berries.
Yeah. We have the first 50 bunches of berry juniper in house. So, and because it's picking season right now.
Okay. I'm ready I'm
go
ready the
through?
beginning of November.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Berry juniper. You heard that, Casey? We're gonna get that nice berry juniper that we couldn't get last year. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. And then all the other.
And you have the
greens as
chamomile.
well.
The chamomile
So,
looks great. You have the two varieties of
yes.
chamomile. It looks great.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Now, are some of the lilies that you handle, are they equivalent to the royals that you used to have at Sun Valley, or the royals were only grown in Arcata?
Well, there is something to be said about the Royals growing in Arcata. I mean, it's that weather, right? You've
Yeah.
experienced it, and then in the summertime, it's more appropriate weather than the hot summer that you can experience in Oxnard, and you've experienced in Carlsbad. That one weekend that we have 90-degree weather on the coast, that normally is not warmer than 70. So, that can happen. So, and that can do a number on the crop where it just grows faster and it doesn't, you want a crop to grow as slow as possible within reason, not too slow, but in order to kind of grow that nice beefy stem and with gorgeous flowers on it. So, the lily that we have here that you saw in the booth last week, those were grown probably during some of the worst time, if you want to call it that, in California. It was the warmest time, and I am pleasantly surprised with what they look like. Yes, it's not the Arcata trees, the sequoia trees or the redwood trees that we grow over there as royals. Plus, we can no longer call them royals because that's a Sun Valley trademark, so we call them LA hybrid lilies. So, but yeah, I am very happy with what we have. So, and we're trying to choose the similar varieties if they're available as what we're used to. But don't forget that the farm that's growing these lilies used to grow for Sun Valley from the November through May period for the last 20 plus years. So we're that farm is experienced. So and right now there are farmers that always grew lilies year round in our area. So we just never did because we like the ones in Arcata better. So
understood. This is great. This is a great story.
Yeah.
Great. someday it'll be a book. Someday it'll be a book.
A good book, yeah. A good book.
Yeah. I think we love to hear these kind of, out of something really bad and sad, something good comes out of it, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to hear it. And you can count on Jet Fresh whenever you need us,
Well, and so far you guys are doing a fantastic bang up job. So I really, really appreciate it. So and thank you for being right there and all the positive affirmations you've sent our way. So I really, really appreciate it. So
well, we need to.
and the plaque is hanging on the wall. So
you got the plaque hanging on the wall? That's awesome.
Yes, Cerritos. Yes, it was approved at home, so can go.
Wow, that's a good approval because I don't know if I would approve of it. Ryan was telling me, he's like, Mimi, do you get it? I go, yeah, I get it, but I don't know. It's just like the way they tell the story, but I love it. We need to put a
what is it?
out.
A metaphor? I think Ryan called it a metaphor.
Yes, of course, right? Yeah. But we need to put out a call to all our fatties. I need you guys to go over to Groot and Flowers, and I need on Instagram because some of the most amazing pictures I'm seeing lately on Instagram are from there. Your photographer
and Mike's videos
and your videos.
Yes.
Mike's
oh
videos.
Yeah, I love it. Their friend on the farm. He's got a blue shirt
and I
on.
believe his wife is filming them. So it's a husband and wife video team.
Yeah, but
and it takes them normally about 3 to 4 takes before it's approved. So.
Yeah, but there's the Shannon, I guess the person that's doing your photography is amazing. These pictures are gorgeous. And so I really want everybody to jump over and go give it a like because it's going to really pick up your content. Like, just beautiful.
Thank you. Yes.
Now, I have one request, and I've been asking over the past couple of years to different people in California. I think it's time to resurrect the Marguerite Daisy. I think we should bring it back.
He's been talking about this for 2 years.
I think we should bring it back. I think that the mass markets are jonesing for them. And if you look on social media, you'll see a lot of old-fashioned flower bouquets being used in pictures and in magazine ads and stuff like that. Marguerite daisies, man, they're extinct right now. But we need to bring it back.
Who has the seed? Do you know? We would have to find somebody who has that seed.
It's still out there, just not in the same. It was probably one of the first consumer bunches that I sold to a mass market here in the early 2000s. So, yes.
20 stem bunches.
It's
a bigger version of that.
This is the chamomile, but it's a larger version, a little less petals, but larger. Yes.
You know where I saw them a couple years ago? My wife and I were in Seattle, and we were walking in the Pikes Market, and we saw bunches of them there. And I got a floaner. I was like, oh man, we need to bring these back. I really miss them. I think that there's not too many new products coming into the market, and it'd be cool to resurrect an old product that actually was really successful for a long time. It's an outdoor. It's outdoors. You don't need a greenhouse. You don't need anything.
You need nothing.
You just need
dirt and water. That's what you need.
And the muscle to harvest it. That's what you need.
Oh yeah, that too.
But let me tell you, if you could get some Marguerite daisies, I'd commit.
Oh.
I'm sure a lot of people would commit.
I will find a grower.
Yeah, those are beautiful, Mike.
They used to send them in upright hampers. Upright, they were actually in upright waxed hampers. Those old schoolers out there listening, they were in a square cube wax dipped box, and they would be upright, and they wouldn't come sleeved. You'd have to sleeve them yourself if you wanted to sleeve them. And the cool part about this box is that when they came in from California, a wholesaler would have like a little trench of water made with concrete in the floor, and you could just lay the box right in the water, and the flowers would hydrate without unpacking them. Because it was a wax dipped box, you were not messing up the cardboard at all. And you just take them out and then put them in the cooler. And that's how we would revive them after the long trip from California.
Mike,
Yeah.
we can grow them in Miami because they're for zone 9 to 11. So we can grow them here.
I doubt it. I think you need that. I think you need that edge of the ocean
Well,
air.
yeah.
My dad used
they
to-
grow best
do you-
in California. Yeah, zone
Yeah.
10.
Roddy, do you know Cazalinos? Do you know those guys?
Must be an
Alex
old name.
Casalino. Well, he was a friend of my dad. I remember when I was a kid, my dad sent me out there, and he was a huge marguerite daisy grower, and he was a friend of my dad's. I called him a few years ago, said hello, but he had a most beautiful piece of land. I remember. I'm going back 50 years, 45 years. He he had a beautiful piece of land that he grew the marguerite daisies on, and it was like a cliff that just dropped down to the ocean. It was really a picturesque, beautiful thing to see all those beautiful flowers and then the ocean right behind it. It was a postcard, Mimi.
I mean, cut. I can't find them cut, but I can get you some.
You can't find them. We need to bring them back. It's the
I
next big thing. I promise you. If you bring them back, if you remember that they say, right? If you build it, they will come.
Yep.
So
That's it.
we need to find somebody to grow them marguerite daisies, man. I'm signed up. Sign me up. I'll take a third of the production. I promise.
Oh, well, somebody has to go to a concert, so let's do some questions. Somebody's going to the concert tonight. I'm so excited for him and his wife. So, all right.
It's tonight?
It's tonight.
It's tomorrow. It's
tomorrow.
night.
Tomorrow.
But,
okay.
Right. But they're
at noon. At noon, I have a sales call. So, but yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Mimi.
All right. So these are just rapid fire questions. Ryan usually does them, so I'm going to try my best to keep up. So, Rodi, what is your favorite flower?
Freesia.
Freesia. Okay. What is the best sandwich?
Oh, the gyro.
The which?
Gyro.
Oh.
Mommy likes gyro.
Yes.
Mommy likes gyros too.
What is the most underrated flower?
Underrated flower.
The marguerite daisy.
Also Freesia.
Also freesia. There you go.
And the most overrated flower, if there is such.
Oh, I cannot mention it. I would offend Mike. Pom-poms. No.
If it's rose, don't worry. That's the number one. Have you ever asked anybody for their autograph? Like Michael Jordan, probably.
No.
No?
I haven't.
What is the scariest animal?
The scariest animal? Spider.
Oh. What is your go-to way to relax?
Pulling weeds.
Oh, you're crazy.
If you could have
Oh my God.
that's just
That's work, man.
My back hurts already just hearing him
That's
say the
work.
words pulling weeds.
It's mind numbing. And then when you look back, it's all gorgeous and beautiful and it's worth it. So.
That's true. If you could have lunch with a famous with a movie character, TV, fictional, historical person, who would it be?
Kobe Bryant.
Ooh, good. What would your superpower be?
Superpower?
Mm-hmm. What superpower would you
To
want?
heal people.
To heal. Nice.
To heal people.
Nice.
Our new one
Love
is,
that.
what is your go-to drunk food?
Go to what?
Like hangover food or drunk, or no, it's drunk food, right, Mike? Like your food
Yeah.
that you
What-
drink when you're.
What do you eat when you come home drunk?
I come home drunk. Oh my God.
What do you stop at? Where do you go?
It used to be back home in the days is the shawarma bar, which is the true gyro, so with gyro. So, but
You didn't
which
like
is the Turkish version.
you didn't like the frikandel or whatever that was called.
Oh yes.
I
I like
That
the
was during the
ashmita.
day.
I loved
Uitsmijten.
That's mine with roast beef.
Yes.
and
No, but there's you go to in Amsterdam and you find yourself a shawarma bar and you go there. All the bars close 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, except for a few. But then the shawarma bars are still open. You go there, you smell like alcohol, and you can get more alcohol there if you want to. And then you get yourself a pita bread filled with shawarma meat, which is
So good.
and drenched in garlic. So that the next morning when you wake up, the whole room smells like garlic and alcohol. So
some
that was my mom's favorite.
oh, that's some of my favorite foods are over there. Okay, and if you could suggest a guest for our podcast, who would you suggest? You can always send it to me afterwards too, if you have any.
should invite one of the Flamingos.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
All right.
Everyone's entitled. I'm not mad. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I was just shocked.
Yes.
But
No,
anyway,
I think who knows it was, but you should consider Ivor, Ivor, and who is with Ocean Breeze. Oh, he's a good guy. I like Ivor, what he does.
Okay, nice.
awesome. And obviously, people are going to want to contact you. What is the best way for them to reach out to you?
That's Rodi, R-O-D-I, at rootandflowers.com. That's the email. Or give me a call, 805-797-4819.
There we go.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it. We
guys.
know you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
What a great story that you have.
Thank you.
And like I said, we're rooting for you, man.
Yeah.
Keep going.
All right, this has been another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. Mimi, Mike, Rodi, thank you for listening to another episode. Have a great one.
Keep going.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.